Welcome in, cleaners. Thanks so much for being here. Today we start a series focusing on the weapons of Fort Hope. In this episode, we will take a look at the pistols and see which ones you should keep and which one may serve you better as a melee weapon. One caveat before we get into this that I want to point out, all the data in this video is based on the weapons within the Fort Hope firing range and have no attachments on them. The weapons are all of epic rarity, and as such, values will be higher than most guns used throughout their campaign runs. For those that may not know, I do stream Back for Blood on Twitch. Link to my Twitch channel and full streaming schedule down in the description below. Alright, now, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. First up, we have the Glock 23. This is the pistol every cleaner starts with at the beginning of the run. As you can see, it uses pistol ammo and has a firepower of 68, range of 55, accuracy of 80, mobility of 80, and handling of 105. Now, don't ask me what the hell any of this means, because at the moment, I can't tell you. I need to spend a bit more time playing around with the weapon attachment configurations to be able to tell you that whole story. Once I'm comfortable, though, testing that what those values are, they will get their own video, so keep an eye out in the future for that. The Glock 23 is a semi-auto pistol and has a base damage of 15.2 per round. This damage does begin to fall off around 10 meters, and damage fall off hits a maximum at 19 meters, where bullets fired beyond this distance will deal 8.6 damage per round. Solid weapon, but middle of the pack in all categories. Next up, we have the Glock 23 Auto. This gun, as I'm sure you guessed, is the fully automatic version of the Glock 23 we just discussed. Beyond being fully auto, this weapon does behave differently to that of its semi-auto counterpart. First, a look at the stat line. The firepower is 62, range of 55, accuracy of 80, mobility of 80, and handling of 80. The value differences seem to be enough, as the Glock 23 Auto has a base damage of 13.7 within 9 meters. Outside of 9 meters, damage falls off gradually until 19 meters, with one bullet will deal 7.7 damage per bullet. This weapon is worse in many ways to its semi-auto counterpart, and hard to justify when the semi-auto is your default secondary weapon. Third on the list of no particular order is the M1911. This weapon fires pistol ammo and is semi-automatic. The stat line is pretty good here, with a firepower of 72, range of 55, accuracy of 75, mobility of 80, and handling of 80. Damage within 12 meters sits at 22.8 and drops to 12.8 at 20 meters. Among secondary weapons which fire pistol rounds, this has the highest damage and highest effective range. Fourth, the Beretta M9 and Beretta M9 Burst. I'm grouping these together to save time, as the only difference between them is one is semi-auto and the other is burst fire. I'll let you figure out which one is which. The stat line is as follows for both of these weapons. Firepower of 56, range of 50, accuracy of 82, mobility of 115, and handling of 115. Though high mobility and handling compensate for the reduced firepower and range compared to the other guns on this list, as stated earlier, I'm working on getting details on what each stat does, but the mobility and handling stats seem to impact movement speed, weapon swap speed, and the weapon's reload speed. Having high stats here is good, but this gun requires more shots to put down the ridden, and ammo may be scarce, or you're being overrun by their horde. It may be better to have another weapon from this list. Next up, the Tech 9, and the only SMG out of the bunch. The stat line is nothing to write home about with this one. Firepower of 68, range of 50, accuracy of 66, mobility of 115, and handling of 85. This weapon is full auto and fires pistol rounds. The Tech 9 takes the crown for standard magazine size at 20 rounds, but sits at the bottom of the pack in damage, which does 12 damage per round within 7 meters. Damage falls off to 6.1 at 17 meters away from your target. Good gun to send lots of lead down range, but damage is too weak compared to the others here. The Desert Eagle, as expected, brings a punch. A quick look at the stat line shows the Deagle means business. Firepower of 95, range of 65, accuracy of 70, mobility of 70, and handling of 65. The damage of the Deagle hits its weakest point when at 22 meters away from your target, and you will see damage drop to 35 per round. Drawback to the Deagle is the use of sniper ammo. If you run sniper rifles regularly, you may want to avoid this one to conserve the ammo. Moving on to the 357 Magnum, everyone's favorite revolver. Also, everyone's only revolver. This weapon is the only one on the list which uses rifle ammo. This is not good because if you're like me and are always running an assault rifle as your primary weapon, ammo may be hard to come by throughout a run. The stat line looks very similar, but slightly weaker to the Deagle: firepower of 90, range of 65, accuracy of 70, mobility of 70, and handling of 60. Damage for the Magnum starts at 37.5 up to 12 meters away from your target and drops to 22.1 at 22 meters away from your target. Solid damage is hard to pass up, but the slow reloads and slow fire rate may make it necessary to pick something else. The final weapon on this list is the Belgian. This is the only shotgun on the list and as such fires shotgun ammo. The Belgian is a one and done sort of gun. You fire both rounds at once and must immediately reload. The reload time is longer than any other gun on this video. Now for the stat line. Firepower of 115, range of 40, accuracy of 20, mobility of 50, and handling of 30. Inaccuracies cause more pellets to miss their marks. Pellets which do hit their targets 14 meters away receive the largest damage drop-off penalty and will do an average of 5.4 damage per pellet. This weapon is good to use as a one-time crowd control weapon, but hard to justify the very high reload speeds and damage inconsistencies outside of its effective range. So where does this stand? What should you choose? I'm going to preface this by saying the pistols or secondary weapon is not nearly as important of a pick as your primary weapon is. Generally, you use the secondary in a pinch to clear out the final few ridden, or if you were incapped and need to clear the area around you to get picked up. With that said, there are a few good ones on this list, but also a few bad ones. From worst to best, here are my rankings. Tied for last place is the Beretta M9 and the Beretta M9 Burst. The damage is just too low and starts dropping off too early. The high mobility stats are nice, but not enough to overcome bringing a BB gun to a war with the ridden. 7th, the Belgian. This gun fires both shots with one trigger pull and takes forever to reload. There are very few scenarios where this gun does well. One of those scenarios is if you're incapped and surrounded by ridden. Unfortunately, the problem is that the reload speed may have been the reason you got incapped in the first place. 6th place, the Glock 23 Auto. The added full auto to the Glock 23 makes this gun worse. The automatic fire makes it inaccurate, and since you don't get a higher magazine to compensate for the reduction in bullet damage, I just can't justify using this when a better version of this gun is given to you by default. 5th place, the Tech 9. The Tech 9's damage is just too low compared to the rest on this list, but the amount of bullets you fire downrange has lifted this one up out of the basement. 4th place, the Glock 23. This gun is a solid choice to kill some ridden. Everything about this gun is middle of the pack, and there's nothing wrong with that. In 3rd place and hitting podium today is the 357 Magnum. High damage and large effective range make this a very solid choice. The only reason this isn't number 2 is the firing rate and reload speeds. Close encounters with multiple ridden will show this gun's weaknesses very quickly. In 2nd place and claiming that silver medal, the Desert Eagle. Highest damage of the bunch, but low ammo capacity, and using rifle ammo makes it difficult to justify long-term use, especially if your primary weapon is an assault rifle, as ammo can get quite scarce at various points of a run. And finally, 1st place, the M1911. This pistol packs a punch with a high damage per round and a large effective range. Along with all of this, the gun uses pistol ammo, which won't impede on your ammo resources throughout the run. Do yourself a favor. If you find an M1911, pick it up. Thank me later. All right, everybody. That's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on my rankings in the comments section below. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Let me know your thoughts. I'm all ears. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. If I've earned it, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all again soon.